This is the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast. Here's Rick Ucchino and SP3 on the Bleav Podcast Network.
Well, we are here live on a Wednesday afternoon after what was an extremely busy, at times fantastic, at times not so fantastic week in Los Angeles. I just got back yesterday evening and time to put the kids to bed, go to sleep, and get up for work this morning where I still am at right now, but I had to get on the horn at some time this week with my man SP3 to talk about, I don't know, everything, the entire landscape of professional wrestling that has changed in the last 5 days. How much things have changed, SP3, from the go-home edition of Friday Night SmackDown to right here, right now. WWE putting on a spectacular, and I can't stress this enough, a spectacular night one of WrestleMania. One of the greatest just opener to close shows that WWE has put on in the last 2 decades. There's no denying it. They absolutely 100% delivered on WrestleMania night one. Very difficult for night two to live up to those expectations. For the most part, it did not. There were some great things on that show, though, including the entire main event right up until the last 15 seconds or so. Let the entire air out of that stadium, did it, SP3? 80,000 strong. Well, maybe not 80,000, about 70,000 people.
Shit pissed me off. You should have known Vince was back when you saw those numbers. They say it's a sellout the first night on 80,000, and then they're able to pack 1,000 more people in there on night two. Which one is it, fam? Which one is it?
Well, if you got a heartbeat, you count towards the attendance. So we're talking the hot dog vendors. We're talking the, anybody, literally anybody, the custodians, the crew, the wrestlers themselves. They all count toward the attendance, right? The maybe the rats somewhere in the building. If you got a heartbeat, it counts toward the attendance. So that's what WWE figures into those numbers. But what I'm talking about is, I would say roughly 7/8 of that stadium was in utter shock and disbelief of the ending of WrestleMania 39. And including much of the media that were down on the floor for that. We'll get into all of that. On top of the event itself comes Monday, the announcement that Endeavor has purchased WWE, or however you want to phrase this. Endeavor, the parent company of UFC, is now merging UFC and WWE all together under one umbrella. 2 separate companies, but now one entire entity is this combat sports mecca that Endeavor is building, and taking WWE from a $6 billion company to a $21 billion company. All stock exchange, no cash. The perfect SP3 deal for Vince McMahon, who went on CNBC and said, yeah, I'll be involved with creative from a higher authority. Can't really get into the weeds anymore. Triple H, a memo is sent out saying he's still in creative control. And then the Monday night after Raw shows up, and suddenly we're getting athletes that are transported to local medical facilities. And we got multiple rundown sheets that are being run out to the producers out on ringside. Seth Rollins looks like he has no idea what the hell he's supposed to do out there. Multiple matches were cut at the last minute. The women didn't even get onto the show until hour number 3. It seemed like total chaos. And SP3, we had worst Raw ever and fire Vince trending on Twitter in what was supposed to be the culmination of a 3-year journey and a year-long journey for Cody Rhodes after WrestleMania weekend, and what was supposed to be a great Raw after Mania. Instead, the story now, SP3, is that WWE is merging with UFC. It sure looks like Vince is back in creative, and there are a whole lot of people who are pissed off about that. And it seems like there are only two people who want this man around, and that's Vince McMahon himself, and that's the owner of Endeavor. Vince apparently was ready to walk away, and Ari said, nah, bruh, we want you to stay. God knows why.
3 people.
Oh, yeah.
Lesnar.
Yeah, Brock, definitely Brock wanted to keep him around. And honestly, SP3, maybe even 4, because this is what you wished for. You wanted this.
I didn't wish for it.
No. You said you wanted this because you're an agent of chaos. You wished for this. You wished for Roman to win. You wished for Vince to be back. You got exactly how you wanted. Are you happy now?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am happier than I could ever be. First, talking about Endeavor and the merging of WWE and UFC. I mean, I did not expect it to come the morning after WrestleMania, despite the reports that went down before night 2 of WrestleMania 39. I thought they would want, full spotlight on what happened at WrestleMania 39 and might wait a day or so, maybe after the Tuesday morning. I kind of expected it more because then they can keep themselves into the conversation. But they made the big deal. I think it was, a positive move for, of course, WWE merging into a $21+ billion, a global sports and entertainment company with the UFC under Endeavor. What the future will hold, we have to wait and see. As far as Vince being back in creative, I'm an agent of chaos. And the WrestleMania 39 result is not what I predicted it here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast. But I did a preview show on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. We did final predictions on True Hill Heat 219 with myself, Miss Chrissy Love, and Ness. And we do the True Hill Heat Prediction Championship. And on all of those things, I was like, all right, you guys get what you want. Cody's going to win because WWE convinced me of that. But you know what I forgot? Because I'm an agent of chaos, you know what I forgot?
What up?
That WWE cares about the bottom line. This is something I've said since the first time I ever did a wrestling podcast. I was like, I learned long ago, WWE cares about the money. F the fans. Forget what the fans want. Forget what all the people want. Forget about the story and finishing the story that all these people wanted for Cody Rhodes. They care about the money. And the money to WWE is in 1,000 days. Endeavor merging WWE with UFC. You want the top guy on top, not a guy that's unproven. Yes, they proved that he was a red hot babyface. Yes, they proved he was a merchandise mover. Yes, they proved he was a ratings draw. But have they proved that he's at that level or can keep that level the way Roman Reigns has in the past 3 years? No, they had not proved that yet. And the story that everybody was into is the bloodline story. WWE did an exceptional job of integrating Cody Rhodes into the bloodline story and making Cody Rhodes feel like the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns. 100% they did that. But what they proved on WrestleMania Sunday, what they proved on the Raw after WrestleMania, they don't give a damn what you want. They don't give a damn what you need. WWE proved themselves to be what I always thought they were. And that is a company that doesn't care about the fans' happiness. All they care is about the money. And that's why they had your Lord and Savior, Triple H, go out on national TV at the start of Monday Night Raw on a segment that people were reporting online as Triple H has an announcement to make. And I heard people like, oh, he's going to make a new championship. Oh, he's going to talk about the Endeavor sale. Oh, he's gonna strip Roman Reigns of the titles. Oh, we're gonna have new titles everywhere. And all this man did was cut a 2015 takeover rah-rah speech. Thank you to the fans. Thank you to the staff. Thank you to the performers. Thank you, WWE, because we just made a whole bunch of money. So F what you guys are all disappointed. He went on the press conference right in front of Rick Ucchino on Sunday night and says, I don't know what you expected. The story doesn't finish. It never finishes here. You stupid idiots. He's like, I'm the same guy that went on national TV and basically said, oh, black people are just here to entertain me and dance and chuck and jive for me. And then he beat the guy with a pedigree for 30 seconds, laid down on a mat, and then pinned him. You expected that guy to have the baby face win? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
All right, so there's a lot to unpack there, and before I dive into my rebuttal for so many different things there, got to thank our friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag, your number one source for all of your sports wagering needs. March Madness just wrapped up. NBA playoffs are firing up here soon. Sid's Lakers are red hot right now. They got a big game against the Clippers, I Bleav, tonight, right, SP3? They need that win over the Clippers tonight.
And we get the 5th seed, yes.
Yeah, so there you go. Big one. If you want to bet on the Lakers to beat the Clippers tonight, betonline.ag is the place to go. They got all the biggest information, news, info, everything you need to make an informed decision on where you're going to place your money. It's BetOnline. If you love sports information, scores, news, podcasts, you can get everything there at BetOnline. Fastest and easiest way to get all of your betting info. Head on over to the website today. Use your mobile device to get on in the action. Be sure to use our promo code BLEAV. BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, so I personally will start with the Endeavor news. I, frankly, had no idea what this was going to mean when it was first announced, but I was happy. I was genuinely happy. This sounded like a good move, a good plan. Even though in the press release it said that Vince was going to be staying on as executive chairman, and he's going on talking about CNBC, like, hey, I can't get involved too deep into the creative woods, but yeah, I'll have some input, some say, which I took to mean basically what he's been doing the last several months. Yes, he has some input, but ultimately it's going to be Triple H's final say. Personally, I was ecstatic at the idea that it was not Saudi Arabia. That has been and always was my biggest concern, that Saudi Arabia would buy WWE, and then I would have some serious moral implications about whether or not I would continue to watch the product, whether or not I would continue to cover the product, because for obvious reasons. So thankfully, that was a sigh of relief that Saudi Arabia didn't buy it. The Endeavor news makes a ton of sense. It's a great business decision for Vince. Obviously, I'm no math major, but $21 billion is greater than $6 billion. I don't know what it's going to mean as far as pay-per-view buys, UFC crossover. We're not going to know any of that for quite some time, at least until this deal has been made official. But this seems like a good business decision. Great. Love it. I'm all for it. But Vince McMahon made his son-in-law look like a total tool in front of his friends, in front of his colleagues, in front of the staff members, in front of the fans, in front of the whole goddamn world this week, when he went out there and he said, nothing's going to change. We are all going to be great. WWE ain't going nowhere. Nothing is going to change. And then this man gets backstage, and Vince McMahon immediately starts changing everything. Everything. I personally saw multiple rundown sheets get taken out to the producers at ringside. Seth Rollins looked completely lost during the commercial break, like he had no idea what the hell he was supposed to be doing. And then he gets in the ring, says, "Hello, Hollywood," and chucks the microphone down, and we all just sang his song like idiots for 30 seconds. And that was it. That was it. Raw after Mania, honestly, wasn't even that. It wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad. It was okay for a Raw in September. It was okay. Being there live in person made it a more fun show. to be completely honest with you. So, like, I see people crapping on Ryan Satin for having fun in person. I had fun in person, but in retrospect, I look back at that Raw and I'm going, what on God's green earth was that? That's your season premiere? No debuts, no call-ups, no major. I'm sorry, Matt Riddle does not count as a surprise. Does not. No title changes. Look, I can allow 29 minutes of wrestling. These people have had a long fucking week. They put their bodies through hell, most of them. I get only 29 minutes of wrestling. I really do. In fact, I give Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and the Street Profits a ton of credit for going out there and putting on the match that they did after what they went through this past week. But they both had a day off. I knew the hell the second that main event got scheduled. Ain't no way Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are working back-to-back days. I knew some shit was up, all right? And in a bubble, I don't hate Cody versus Brock. I don't. I love Cody versus Brock. I think that's a great decision. But I have an issue with Vince McMahon going on national television saying, I'm not going to get involved. Triple H coming out on national television saying nothing's going to change. And then Vince plops himself right back down, deep down in the weeds, SP3, and literally starts making wholesale changes to Monday Night Raw, taking a giant shit on his son-in-law, he already took his daughter's job away from her. Now he's taking his son-in-law's job away from him. And Raw was bad. And now you've got the whole locker room demoralized. Once again, you got an entire fan base tweeting worst Raw after Mania and fire Vince after 36 hours of this man, quote unquote, being back. If Triple H proved anything over the last 9 months, and we have talked about this ad nauseum, it's not been perfect. It hasn't been close to perfect, but there have been massive improvements. The ratings have been up. The wrestling has been better. The shows overall have been, for the most part, better. Not a high bar, but better. Ratings are up. Revenues through the roof. This company sold 100,000 tickets to WrestleMania before a fucking match was announced. This company was firing on all cylinders. Did not need Vince McMahon around at all. And now this man is coming back and wiping his ass with the goodwill that his son-in-law built up between the talent and the fan base. And I, frankly, am pissed off. And my only hope right now, is that this was just like a one-off because Vince happened to be in Los Angeles. That's it. That's my only hope, that he was already in Los Angeles. The big test, SP3, is going to be if he decides to fly to Portland and is there on SmackDown. That's it. That's it. And if this man shows up and he really is back in the weeds again, I'm genuinely concerned for this product moving forward. I'm concerned for people like Gunther, who put on a hell of a performance this past weekend, who had already lost the eye of Vince McMahon right before he was getting ready to, the whole scandal news came out. We had those reports that he was getting ready to bury Gunther's ass. Instead, we're getting this record-breaking Intercontinental title reign. LA Knight, who is arguably your fourth most over babyface in the entire company right now. I was at, the Staples Center Friday. The TV audience, the volume, audio, that's the word I'm looking for, did not do it justice. That entire crowd was chanting for LA Knight pretty much throughout the night and throughout the entirety of that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That was the most heat that Bronson Reed had gotten since he came back, was chucking LA Knight out of the ring. Vince McMahon ain't no fan of LA Knight. I'm worried about his future. He got pulled from Mania. He was supposed to have a Mania segment, probably with Bobby Lashley. That ended up getting pulled. I'm concerned for the likes of Bray Wyatt. There's so many talent. Johnny Gargano, anybody on the women's division, frankly, that isn't in the top echelon of that talent. Not that they were getting a lot of opportunities, but they were going to get more under Triple H than they ever were under Vince McMahon. Tegan Knox, worried for her. Mia Yim, worried for her. Candice LeRae got cut from Raw already. I mean, Bayley getting cut last minute from Raw. We know Vince wasn't a fan of her idea to have a faction, and I know a lot of people think Damage Control should fucking go away after they lost at WrestleMania, and maybe probably, yeah, because they haven't done anything with them, so why bother at this point? And I hate saying that because that group had massive amounts of potential and they were genuinely excited for it. I don't want Vince back. I want to enjoy what I watch on a regular basis. I hate being negative. I don't want to come in here, SP3, every freaking Tuesday at 2:15. We're on a special time today. I don't want to come in here at 2:15 every day and be pissed off and be mad and just have anxiety about the fact that I have chosen to cover this damn sport. It was such a weight lifted off when Triple H was in charge because I thought there was potential for him to get better. He wasn't perfect, but there was potential for him to get better, and he genuinely cared. And we didn't get endless rematches, and stuff made sense sometimes. But, I mean, there was a chance for things to always improve. And look, Triple H, again, I said it a million times, he wasn't perfect, but I believe that his heart was in the right place for a lot of the talent, and he genuinely gave a shit about this. Vince McMahon only cares about one thing. And it's what Vince McMahon wants to see. That's it. That is it. I don't want this, SP3. I know you're an agent of chaos and you love to come in here and rant and rave the fact that you hate everything. I don't want to fucking hate everything, SP3.
I don't hate everything. I like some things. I gave Triple H all the credit in the world for Ray and Dominic's storyline, which is still going on. They're going to have a fun tag team match in Puerto Rico. But I know Vince McMahon, ladies and gentlemen. And when he came back in January, I saw all this coming. So maybe it was me trying to be an agent of chaos, or maybe it was me being Necrodamus for the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast. And I think that Trevor Dame on the Twitter machine, follow him. He's good. He's a good follow. He put it perfectly of everything that has gone down since July 2022 from Vince McMahon's point of view. He put this up on April 4th. At around 1:41 a.m. Eastern time, he said, Vince went from he's retired to he's only back to facilitate a sale to okay, he's minimally involved in creative to he's only big picture creative, not details, to Vince just sent the note 2 hours into Raw saying Brock should smash. That perfectly encapsulates the past 10 months in wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we have gone through. Vince McMahon is here. He's here to stay. I think, I agree with everybody else that's saying that we will know better after Friday on SmackDown. I'm going to be honest. I don't expect him to be there Friday on SmackDown. I think that he is going to pick his spots. He's going to pick his spots. He's not going to be in the weeds, even though I feel like he is the weeds. Or on the weeds, however you want to put it. But I don't think he's going to be there on Friday in Portland. I think he's going to pick his spots. He's going to be here for the bigger shows. And it's going to cause Rick to have, these epic rants, which makes this show very much watchable.
Dude, if he wants to be involved sometimes and be at some big events, he has every right. Well, he doesn't technically own it anymore, but it's his baby. He has every right to be there. All right.
Well, I mean, 49% of this new company is owned by WWE Shareholders, and he's the majority shareholder.
Yeah.
It's just like I understand where you're coming from and feeling bad for the talent, and the talent whole morale is down and everything like that. All fine and dandy. However you feel for the talent. But at the end of the day, the talent should have saw the tea leaves like I did. This man still retained majority stake stockholder. If you thought he was gone and gone for good, then you're the stupid one. I don't feel bad for you. I'm sorry. I just don't. And I don't feel bad for Triple H. Triple H went and gave the rah-rah speech when Vince McMahon was gone, like, oh, we're going to see wholesale changes. We're going to do all of this. He made the rah-rah speech in January saying that Vince might have some input, but I have final say. And, I thought it was just him making a safe plan. And I think also Trevor Dame had a great tweet about Triple H as well. that I have to read as well, because it is another true. Triple H job will be what it was before. He said the same job a lot of people working under Vince have had. He and the writers will book out a show. Vince will change 60% of it the day before, then change 60% of that the day of, and then change 60% of that during the show. So, and it's at the end of the day, Triple H can die the martyr. He can die a hero, basically, as the head of creative, because regardless of how you felt about the creative in the moment, it's always going to look better than what Vince is going to do, because Vince don't care. He don't care about the fans. At least Triple H had some bit of care. So Triple H does not live long enough to become the villain, even though it was seeming like that on the road to WrestleMania. More people were jumping on my Triple H built a bandwagon of criticism to his booking the more we got closer to WrestleMania, and now all of them have jumped off and they're back on the "we hate Vince, Triple H was much better" bandwagon. And
because he was. Because he was.
That's all fine and dandy to me. I enjoyed stuff in the Triple H regime. I enjoyed stuff in the Vince McMahon regime, because WWE has built out a roster that is formidable. And yes, we should talk about, some talent have went to Fightful and told them they would possibly think about requesting their release if the trend continues. And there's some that say they would let their contract ride out. Hey, when they give you that number and it has an extra zero on top of it, I don't know if they would make the same decision or keep that same energy. I don't know if that energy is going to be kept the same. And now that they're owned by Endeavor, who is merging them with the UFC, that extra zero might be the key to them saying, you know what, I might just re-sign again. I can't feel that bad for any of these people with the amount of money that they are making. I'm sorry.
At this point, there's nothing we can do but wait and see. I think SmackDown's going to be a huge indicator. If Vince, like I said, if Vince wants to show up, if he wants to have some input, some influence, look, the only reason, and I believe this to be factual, the only reason why we got Omos versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania is because that's something that Vince pushed. And you know what? It ended up not being that bad. It was actually pretty entertaining for what it was. It was very paint by numbers, but it was fine. Honestly, it was better than John Cena versus Austin Theory, if I'm being completely honest here. So yeah, honestly,
they actually tried. John Cena did not.
Now, to be fair,
John Cena went and got his check.
To be fair, Cena had like no prep time for that match, like none.
F those kids.
John Cena had like no prep time for that, which is why it was basic AF. He basically rolled off the couch and said, "All right, let's go do a match." Hey, thanks to Shane McMahon though, he didn't have the worst showing of the entire weekend. So there is that. But we'll just have to play wait and see, and all we can do is hope for the best. But if he wants to come around every once in a while, have a little bit of influence, I'm hopeful that things will be okay. But you know what? If he's coming in there and he's making wholesale changes and it goes back to the way things were before he stepped away last summer, I think you're going to start to see ratings and revenue decline. And maybe now there will be some votes in place that can get his ass out of there if business starts to do bad.
I don't see revenue. The WWE is like, they're gonna make more revenue. They're gonna make record profits. When this whole creative was in the doldrums during the pandemic era and during a portion of the first half of 2022, they were still making record revenue. The only thing that changed was their ticket sales for live events went up. But other than that, everything else was up. It's on the up. I don't see any of this changing.
If the ratings start to go down, though, they got media rights deals they're trying to come up with. They need good ratings right now.
Address this with MCAS saying money isn't everything. SP3, FTR not going back, that's for sure. I didn't say anything about free agents. Yes, this is going to be an impact on free agents. Like
forget FTR, Kenny Omega ain't coming. Forget that.
Jay's not coming. They
coming.
already had the report by PW Insider that said Jay White was not talked about during WrestleMania week, and the people that they talked to said that they don't think he's coming to WWE. mind you, I never said anything about free agents. I never said anything about people outside of this WWE bubble. But I'm talking about the Seth Rollins of the world, the Becky Lynches of the world, those people that you think would be like, oh, I'm going to take a stand and I might look about my options outside this company. I don't believe that for damn. I don't believe that at all, because they have been so coddled in this WWE bubble. They don't want to know what the world is outside of this bubble. They would surprise the hell out of me. And I'm someone that has been surprised before. I did not think Bryan Danielson, despite his love for professional wrestling, I didn't think he would leave, but he did. They might surprise me. But right now, I don't think any of these top people at the top of the card are leaving anytime soon. They are WWE for life, and regardless of how morale is backstage, once they see the extra zero on that contract, they'll be perfectly fine.
Potentially. Again, and when it comes to this, we'll have to wait and see. Let's dive into what I'm sure a lot of other people are in the chat right now are waiting for us to get into. And we do appreciate everybody who's in the chat. If you like this video, you like the show so far, give us a thumbs up. If you're new to the program, make sure to hammer that subscribe button as well. We're closing in on 600 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. By the way, I'll have more interviews coming out from my WrestleMania weekend. I was there for both press junkets. Man, I do have to apologize, though. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have as many as I had hoped. I did 3. And believe me when I tell you, 3 really, really good interviews with The Miz, Dakota Kai, and Roxanne Perez. And unfortunately, due to a bad mic cable, I did not get any of the audio off of those. And it's utterly heartbreaking, especially the Roxanne Perez interview. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to bring you guys, but there was plenty more from that weekend that I will have up on the channel in the coming weeks. I believe next Tuesday, I'm going to drop my conversation with the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. They were both absolutely lovely to talk to.
Dawn of Fire.
Yes, you can talk to, or you can't talk to them, but you can check out my interviews right now with Braun Strowman and Ricochet. Double feature up right now. Natty is up right now. Natalia is up. I combined her actual name and her nickname. That was weird. Natalia is up right now as well. So is my conversation with Rhea Ripley. You can check all of those out right now on Bleav in Pro Wrestling. All right, SP3. WWE was on a heater for the most part for WrestleMania. Even the downfalls of night 2 were made better by the peaks of the night. Gunther, Sheamus, Drew, obviously a highlight of the entire weekend, and I'll bring them up coming up here in a little bit as well. Bianca, Asuka, really good stuff. The main event, from start to damn near finish, was one of the best experiences of my entire life. They took the media down, out to the floor. We were right there by the stage. Saw Cody's entrance right up through the Cody Vader. He was maybe 20 feet from me. Roman Reigns coming down. The crowd was eating out of they were eating out of the palms of the performers' hands. You know how I know people were invested in this match, SP3? Cody Rhodes hit a headlock takeover. A headlock takeover. The most basic AF chain wrestling move, like the second one they show you. And that crowd lost its damn mind for a headlock takeover. That's how you know they're invested. And for the next 34 minutes, we were on a wild ride. It was a roller coaster, man. Solo Sikoa getting involved. Cody getting pissed. All of a sudden, Solo gets tossed. Cody Rhodes starts getting the upper hand. Here come the Usos. We knew it was coming. After the ref bump, Usos coming down. But here comes Kevin. Here comes Sammy. They're in there. They finally get their shots on Roman Reigns. A stunner, a haluva kick. Sami Zayn's facial expressions were perfect. Night 1 and night 2 really helped sell the emotion of the moment of everything. Cody's got Roman in his grasp, man. He hits the bionic elbow after the jabs. He's got him in the crossroads. He hit him once. He hit him twice. Everything is going perfect. The crowd is losing their damn minds. Cody's about to finish his damn story. Paul Heyman jumps on the apron. Solo comes out with a hoodie on. gives him the spike. Roman hits the spear. The 3 count happens. And every single member of the media had the same ass dumbfounded look on their face going, I cannot believe that they just did that. They had it, man. They had it. They had their moment. You say they haven't been able to prove anything with Cody yet. They didn't give this mother effer the chance, SP3. You got to give him a chance to ascend to that level. You had a chance, the opportunity to make somebody in the main event of WrestleMania. On our prediction show that came out Tuesday ahead of the event, thanks to Nick Hausman, once again, superstar of the press conference weekend. Andreas Hale was here with us as well. Man, I said this is their season finale. Are we going to get Full House or are we going to get Walking Dead? On night 1, they gave us Full House. Happy ending. Night 2, looked like we were going to get Full House. There's nothing wrong with giving the fans what they want, with giving us that happy ending, especially for a story that has been 3 years building with the Bloodline and a whole damn year building with Cody Rhodes. You have the chance to make somebody in the main event of WrestleMania and strap the rocket to your top babyface. And they said, nah, we don't need to do that. And I'm like, okay. I've sat here for the last several days thinking about what we witnessed and just the deflation that was the entire arena and the utter shock of the media members and the utter shock of the fan base, most of them in attendance. And I'm going, why? Why would they do that? Other than the fact of they want Roman Reigns to hit 1,000 days, which only like 4 people care about on the entire planet. Yourself included. You're like one of only a handful of people who give a crap about Roman Reigns becoming the 6th person ever to have 1,000 days as undisputed champion. Only person who gives a crap. Because my question is, SP3, what are you building toward? What are you building toward? Who are you making? What are you doing? You passed up on giving Drew his moment in the UK. Okay, fine. You passed up on Sammy in Montreal getting his moment. Another chance to make a top babyface. We said, okay, it's because Sammy and Kevin are going to win the tag team titles, which they did. And because they're going to give Cody his moment in the main event of WrestleMania. Except they didn't. You passed up on 3, what would have been 3 very special, memorable, never going to forget where you are moments to make somebody, at least in the case of Sammy and Cody, to make them. And instead, you keep the title on Roman. For what purpose? For what guy? Who is coming around and who is beating Roman Reigns? Because if you say they're going to go back to Sammy or they're going to go back to Cody, I guarantee you, you are not going to have a better opportunity than what you already had. Yes, Cody is still hot. I see the comments in the chat. Yeah, people care more about Cody now than they ever did because he got screwed over. If your goal is to put the title, presumably, on Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40 in Philly, good luck filling that time. Because there is no goddamn guarantee that he's going to be as hot as he was in the main event of WrestleMania 39. I don't know what they're building toward, but I think they missed the boat because of some arbitrary 1,000 days as Universal Champion. Because he fell 56 short or whatever BS that it was. Who cares? Strap the rocket to a guy who has been proven to be a money maker for this organization, for this company. And they passed up Cody Rhodes for what, SP3? They passed him up for what? So he can win Money in the Bank and win the title at SummerSlam? 1,000 days is not a good enough answer. I'm sorry, it's not. They screwed this up. They had their shot, they missed it. They had a layup, a slam dunk, and they clanked it off the back of the iron on purpose. Makes no damn sense to me. I don't care about 1,000 days. I don't care.
You don't care. There's probably millions of fans out there that don't care. You know who does care? WWE. That's all that matters. This is something that I learned long ago. They do not care what you think. They care about them. And when the 1,000-day t-shirts come out, and I'm gonna cop one, I might wear it every single week on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast just to make Rick Ucchino get reminded of the pain that he went through in Los Angeles, being on the floor, being that close. He was like, oh, I'm gonna see someone get made. You know who's the guy they made? Roman Reigns.
They made his ass 7 years ago.
Roman Reigns is now firmly on the Mount Rushmore of WWE faces. The faces of the WWE. I've saw some people be like, oh, you got to put Bruno on there. No, Bruno is from the Vince Senior era. Vince McMahon Jr. is the one that created the moniker, the figure, the model of the face of the WWE. And it is Hogan, it is Austin, it is Cena, it's Roman Reigns now. Because Roman Reigns won. And this is the main thing that I said from the very beginning when Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble, the way he won the Royal Rumble. I said, no, Roman should win at WrestleMania. Because one, this Cody Roman thing wasn't even the idea to begin with. They wanted to do Rock versus Roman, and guess what? Roman was going to win. They wanted this 1,000-day for months. Roman Reigns said it in the press conference. He says, me and Paul Heyman been talking about 1,000 days like 2-3 months ago. This is something that WWE has wanted to do. It does. Who cares? The WWE cares, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if Steven in the chat cares. It doesn't matter if Rick right here cares. It doesn't matter if all the people from the media care. It doesn't matter if all 80,000 breathing corpses in the SoFi Stadium cares about that. It cares about what WWE wanted. WWE first wanted Rock versus Roman. Couldn't get that. Then they wanted Rock versus Austin. Couldn't get that. Then they booked Roman versus Cody. And y'all just thought, oh no, Cody is so hot. They're going to change their plan. No, you always asked them to have a long-term plan. And the long-term plan has always been Roman Reigns 1,000 days.
But you have to have an end game. You have to have an end game. Who's winning? Who's beating him? Who is beating him at this point?
The end game now is Cody Rhodes is going to have to climb that mountain. The whole journey of Cody Rhodes has been about him facing adversity and jumping over the obstacle.
He has faced enough adversity.
They wanted him to be Stardust. He had to leave the company. He had to prove himself on the independent scene, prove himself as the Ring of Honor World Championship. He had to make his own promotion. They said he couldn't fill a 1,000-seat arena. He did that at All In with the Young Bucks. They said he couldn't start a second major promotion to be a competitor for WWE. He did that. He came back to the WWE. He beat Seth Rollins 3 times. He gets injured. He has 8 months on the recovery. They said you couldn't get back in 8 months, and he did that. He overcame that. Then he came into the Royal Rumble, came in at the number 30 spot, and then the whole build up to WrestleMania, it just felt like a cakewalk. It just felt like the red carpet was being thrown out for him. It just felt too easy. There was no adversity in that form of the story, and that's so against Cody Rhodes. He needs to face some adversity, and this is the adversity. He has to climb the mountain again. He has to beat Brock Lesnar. He has to go on the American Nightmare Express to Detroit, Michigan, and 30 years to the day when his ancestor, his Atlanta, Georgia ancestor, Lex Luger, came up just short against the Anoa'i family at SummerSlam 1993 in Detroit, Michigan. Cody Rhodes will redeem his ancestor, Lex Luger, and he's going to get on the American Nightmare Express. It's going to have the American Nightmare logo on one side. It's going to have Liberty on the second side, and he's going to march his way to Detroit, Michigan. And at Detroit, Michigan, in the sold-out Ford Field. You say, oh, the ticket sales ain't gonna be good. I guarantee you, Ford Field will be sold out. And Cody Rhodes, second time around, he is going to live the American dream. He's going to make the American nightmare become the American dream. Because why? Because all great Americans have faced adversity and they have overcome it. And that is what Cody Rhodes is going to do. He's going to do it for Dusty. He's going to do it for Dustin. He's going to do it for Liberty. He's going to do it for Brandy. He's going to do it for the African American culture. He's going to do it for friendship. He's going to do it for all the people that you've been saying. And this will be WWE accomplishing both things. Roman Reigns 1,000 days, which has been the plan since Roman Reigns won the championship back in 2020. This is a plan that went from regime to regime, from the Vince McMahon regime to the Triple H regime, and they would accomplish it on May 27th, the two greatest days in May. May 18th, my birthday, May 27th, 1,000 days, because Chase in the chat, he gets it, I get it, we are the ones. In 1,000, they get to accomplish that, and then you get what you want at SummerSlam 2023 in front of a sold-out Ford Field. Rick will be there. He'll be there regardless of how he feels right now. Rick gonna be there. He gonna get all the content. He gonna have a working mic and all perform the build-up to SummerSlam. He gonna be all fine and dandy, and then he will be there in Ford Field, sold-out Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. SummerSlam, the biggest SummerSlam of all time, the biggest rematch of all time. It's gonna be Cody Rhodes living the American dream, because what they say in their theme song, they say, hard times make better man. He's gonna be a better man at SummerSlam 2023 when he wins the undisputed WWE Universal Championship.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't see that happening. I don't. And I'll tell you why, SB3. I will tell you why. As soon as I find my button here, because we got to dive into this. Hang on. There we go.
It's time to answer the 5 count on the Bleav Podcast Network.
While doing this on my laptop. We always do this every show, the 5 biggest questions of the week. Here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling Podcast YouTube channel. Podcast audio version available anywhere that podcasts are. You think you already answered this question. Will Roman Reigns still be the undisputed champion come WrestleMania 40? I think he will be. And I see people in the chat saying, hey, do you think they're setting him up for Gunther in London? Do you think that he's going to be this, that, and the other thing? I don't think Roman Reigns is defending this championship until SummerSlam again at the earliest. I don't think he's going to be in London. I don't think he's going to be in Saudi Arabia. Maybe Saudi Arabia. Maybe, because they're paying a boatload of money, and maybe he'll be there and he'll challenge some old timer, right? Like some guy will come in. He may have one title defense between now and SummerSlam. I don't know who's fighting him at SummerSlam. I don't know if it's Seth. I don't know if it's Sammy. I don't know if it's Cody. But I wholeheartedly Bleav, after what we saw on Monday Night Raw, there's 2 things that I can guarantee. We got 2 matches that are already at least have been penciled in for WrestleMania 40. And it goes back to Paul Heyman's promo. Paul Heyman's promo on Monday, when Cody asked for a rematch, listed and rattled off every damn pay-per-view and big moment that we could possibly see Roman Reigns on, with the exception of one, and said Cody Rhodes is not getting his rematch at any of those events. The one place that he did not say that Cody Rhodes would not get his rematch at is WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. I think WWE has it in their mind. They're going to do Roman and Cody again next year, WrestleMania 40. Maybe Cody wins there, but I wholeheartedly Bleav that Roman Reigns, we are in for another year of Roman Reigns as the undisputed champion. I don't know who he's going to beat in the process. We're going to start running down some old dudes again, but I do not see them passing up, giving Cody the belt in the main event of WrestleMania 40 or WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles in front of 80,000 people, allegedly. I don't see them passing on that and then putting the belt on him at Ford Field in Detroit for SummerSlam. I don't see it. I think Roman is the guy come WrestleMania 40 still.
I think Cody Rhodes wins the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at SummerSlam in Ford Field, like I said already. And I see Roman Reigns, he's still going to be in a big matchup at WrestleMania 40.
Sure.
Because he going versus the man that the last time WrestleMania was in Philadelphia, he headlined the show. Who is an iconic model of Philadelphia? No, it's not Donovan McNabb. No, it's not Allen Iverson. The guy who has a statue in Philadelphia is from a movie. No, his name is not Sylvester Stallone. His name is Rocky. Rock versus Roman is happening at WrestleMania 40. And you guys, you get what you wanted again. Because you said when everybody thought it was going to happen at WrestleMania 39, you're like, oh, Roman and Rock don't need a championship. Don't worry. It ain't going to be for the championship. They still going to headline, though. They still going to headline. They still going to be the main event over the Undisputed Championship, or the Undisputed Championship going to be on the first night, the main event, and then the second night is going to be Roman and Rock in the headline spot. And guess what? Then reverse, you're going to have something else to complain about, because that would be 3 years the women don't headline.
Look, at this point, I'll believe The Rock shows up when he actually shows up. And I don't hate that idea. I personally would put Rock and Roman on night one and keep your Universal Championship strong, but I don't make those decisions. I don't see Roman losing this belt anytime soon. And the one thing that I am really getting tired of with this reign, and Antoine brings it up, same result every damn time. It has become too big of a pattern now. Unless your name is Finn Balor, it's always Solo or the Usos or Paul Heyman or somebody helping Roman Reigns win the damn title every single time.
Hold up, though. Now, let's think about this whole 3-year reign. Roman Reigns, you had the Kevin Owens rivalry and stuff. That's an outlier. But Jey Uso, Roman just beat him. Who was after that? WrestleMania 37. Roman stacked Edge and Daniel Bryan on top of each other. You can say Jey Uso got involved, but Roman pretty much washed both of those guys, stacked them on top of each other, and won. Bryan Danielson again a month later in the retirement match. He just beat him. He didn't need any help for it. Cesaro beat him. Just beat him. He didn't need any help for it. Rey Mysterio just beat him. Didn't need any help for it. You could say Seth Rollins got involved with Edge at Money in the Bank 2021, but then you turn around to John Cena at SummerSlam. He just beat him. Didn't need any help for it. Or you could say, okay, Paul Heyman helped him at Crown Jewel against Brock Lesnar. He got disqualified against Seth Rollins, but Goldberg just beat him. Didn't need any help for it. Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 38. He just beat him. Didn't need any help for it.
Recently, it's become too big of a pattern.
That's my point. Under the Triple H regime, that's when it's become a pattern. And as we said at the top of the show, we don't know this Triple H regime is continuing. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If you want clean Roman Reigns victories, even as a heel, Vince McMahon is back in charge, and he's going to be like, you got to make Roman Reigns look strong.
There is one other person that, and Steven brought him up in the chain. Steven saying Edge versus Roman in Saudi Arabia, possibly, maybe. I'm still kind of mad that Finn didn't win that match, even though he was able to finish it with a gash roughly the size of the Grand Canyon in his freaking head after he got a ladder just domed right into him. That's a possibility.
They totally ruined the Demon.
Yeah, he lost his last.
What? No, it's not even the losses. It's what the hell was all of that in that matchup? They made the Demon into the Fiend. He's doing all that. He's impervious to Fiend now. That was never the Demon. What are we doing?
I don't know. I have no idea what that match did not go anywhere close to what I thought. I had fun watching it, but it's not anywhere near what I thought it was going to be. There's one other guy that I think could dethrone Roman Reigns, and again, you're going back to Seth Rollins. I think Seth has got to be a major player. He's still way over I don't know what you do with Seth now that he has dispatched Logan Paul. I thought that was a great story, a good spot for him at WrestleMania. Maybe Seth is the SummerSlam opponent, and Roman finally beats him at SummerSlam.
I think Seth is Saudi.
Maybe Seth is Saudi.
Seth is Saudi or Money in the Bank. You do Seth because I think either they're going to have him. They're definitely going to have him in Saudi because that's the big paycheck. So I would do Seth there.
I brought it up earlier. All right. I thought night one of WrestleMania was spectacular. Even the Cena Theory match was a good way to start off the show, and I thought it just continued to get better and better and better. The men's showcase match was an absolute hoot. Seth and Logan Paul tore the house down. You get to the final two matches of the night. We get the happy ending, which was a really emotional and great roller coaster in and of itself in the men's tag team title match. But before that, SP3, Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair had one of the best WrestleMania matches that I've ever seen, period, end of story. That match was insane. The crowd was into it. Rhea, as the build said, was the whole goal, was to make Rhea Ripley a star. And after that match, and watching what happened on Monday Night Raw, SP3, where Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair stood face-to-face with each other, they felt like the two biggest stars of the women's division in the entire company, which to me, even though the build was not good, it was barely better than Bianca's and Asuka's, and that's because they didn't even try with Bianca and Asuka. You were 100% right. The build was not good. But WWE is lucky in the fact that they had 4 absolutely incredible all-world talents, and nobody a year from now is going to remember either of the builds to Asuka and Bianca or Charlotte and Rhea. They are not, but they will remember those matches, because as good as Rhea Ripley and Charlotte was, that is a tough act to follow for Bianca and Asuka, and they collectively said, bet. And they went out there and they put on a hell of a match in their own right. I'm not saying they bested them, but it was still damn good. They work incredibly well together. Those 2 women's title matches were nothing short of spectacular. And coming out of it, Rhea Ripley looked like a major star, which to me was the whole point of booking that match. Yes, they could have done Rhea and Bianca at this year's WrestleMania, and it probably would have been just as good. But all of a sudden now, Rhea Ripley, if she goes on a year-long dominant streak like I Bleav she's going to do, unforeseen circumstances aside, right? All of a sudden, Bianca and Rhea, that's a moneymaker, man. That is a headliner. That is a WrestleMania, potentially night 2 headliner, depending on what they do with the undisputed WWE Championship next year. They wanted to put Rhea Ripley up on Bianca Belair's level as a star. Talent, she was already there. But as far as star, as far as upper echelon of the women's division, they wanted to put her up there first and get her on the same level with Bianca before they booked that match, which is why I am comfortable in saying yes, WWE got it right by booking Rhea and Charlotte Flair this year at WrestleMania. Do you agree?
No, but I will say that was the best women's match of the year so far. One of the greatest women's matches in WrestleMania history. So if it was all about, putting Rhea at a certain level and having a women's match that would be, iconic, then you could say that they did the right thing. But no, they're not. The key word in this question is booking Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. If it was just about just booking matches, then Tony Khan would never have any criticism towards him, because he books great matches all the time.
Sure.
But WWE is about the story going into it. So no, they didn't get it right. But it was undeniably a fantastic match. I would put it in the top 3 greatest women's matches in WrestleMania history, with Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch last year, and this match right here. I thought it was fantastic. And if for a year from now we do get Bianca versus Rhea and it feels as big as it would have felt this year, then in retrospect, a year from now, we can revisit this question and say, yeah, they were right. But right now, no, they weren't.
A lot of things could happen between now and then. Vince could change his mind. He could take the belt off of Rhea at SummerSlam. An injury could happen. Who the hell knows? Victor asking, question is, will Bianca still be the Raw Women's Champion come WrestleMania 40? I don't believe she will be. I think she is going to be the victim, and I'll call it right now, and I'm going to write about this for Cage Side Seats this weekend. I think Bianca Belair is going to be the victim of the Money in the Bank cash-in. I think that is the smartest way that you can keep her still strong and have her get beat, because she right now is approaching John Cena level of booking, and for damn good reason, because she is an absolute superstar. She's already working the Cena schedule. And by that, I mean 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009 John Cena, where he is the world champion. He is making the towns. He is making all of the house shows, and he's doing all the events, the Be a Star events, all the community level events that WWE does so well. Bianca Belair is right now, she is the face of WWE. She is an absolute superstar, and she is a generational talent. I think the best thing you can do is to utilize the Money in the Bank by getting it off of her. Right now, my guess would be that Charlotte wins the Money in the Bank. She's going to take some time off. She's going to come back. She's going to win the Money in the Bank. And for the first time in her life, she will cash in on somebody instead of being the one who gets cashed in on. And that's going to set up Charlotte's WrestleMania match next year, which you'll have to read about Cage Side Seats next year.
I have a feeling, it's going to be, I have a feeling at WrestleMania 40, it's going to be Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair. I think that Bianca still wants to complete beating all the four.
Oh, sure she does.
So I
don't necessarily think
it's more likely that happens than we do finally get Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair, and that's another reason why it wasn't the right thing, because you might not ever get them at that point where all the stars align and you're able to do it the way they could have done it this year.
I am going to use your own logic against you. WWE doesn't care what Bianca Belair wants. WWE doesn't care if Bianca wants to be the first woman to pin all four horsewomen. What they showed me on Monday by having that face-to-face and having them in the ring and laying the seeds and saying, one day you and I are going to meet, tells me they want Bianca and Rhea. And I think it's going to happen at WrestleMania 40.
They had Kofi Kingston face off with Seth Rollins 4 years ago on the day after they won the Universal and the WWE championships. So them doing this may have set the seeds for fans out there thinking that they're going to do this at WrestleMania. But I've seen some people in the chat saying it already. Vince McMahon is back. I don't see them going a year-long plan and this being the thing they do at WrestleMania 40. I think it's probably more likely Charlotte Flair is once again in a big matchup, and this time it's against Bianca Belair.
I do think Charlotte will be in a big matchup, but I don't think it's going to be. I think Rhea will still be the SmackDown Women's Champion by the time WrestleMania rolls around, and I think Bianca will be her challenger. Speaking of Bianca Belair, she has done over the last several years now, she has just continued to make history, both for the women's division and both for Black athletes in WWE. Now over a year as the Raw Women's Champion, she has gone wire to wire. She has had 3 consecutive WrestleMania singles matches for championships. She is 3-0. And not only is she 3-0 as far as the results are concerned, SP3, but she has 100% delivered in every single one of these matches. You said, like, the only reason why this year's is down in my book for a lot of people is the fact that it's not one of the top 3 women's matches of all time at WrestleMania. Like, you just laid them out. I 100% agree with you. It's Bianca and Sasha, it's Bianca and Becky, and it's Rhea and Charlotte in no particular order. But that match that she had with Asuka was spectacular. And the fact that she's 3 for 3 in big title matches, which, like, not even Becky Lynch, I don't think, has had 3 singles matches at WrestleMania. Bianca's had them back to back to back, and she has delivered every single year. She's a generational talent. She is a superstar. SP3, has she already solidified herself as the greatest women's performer in WrestleMania history?
No. Once again, the answer is no, because I think Charlotte Flair did at this year's WrestleMania. because Charlotte Flair, if you want me to expand upon my top 3 and make it into a top 5, I think Charlotte has number 4 with her and Asuka at WrestleMania 34, and then the historic victory of her beating Asuka and ending her streak. That's right up there as well. She was the first woman that was in the main event of WrestleMania at WrestleMania 35. WrestleMania 32, the triple threat match with Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, I would make that number 5. So that means Charlotte Flair has 3 of the top 5 greatest women's matches in WrestleMania history. So that is another reason why WrestleMania 40, it needs to be Bianca versus Charlotte to determine who is the real Mrs. WrestleMania.
It's pretty damn close, to be honest. I don't think you could go wrong by picking either one of them, to be completely honest with you, depending on what your flair, what your taste is. But the fact that Bianca, in a very short time, do you remember how long ago it was when she was brought up to the Raw roster and did absolutely nothing for a year? And we're sitting here like, what the hell are you doing with Bianca? When is it going to be her opportunity? And that was like the whole, first year of the pandemic, 2020. We're sitting here, what the hell is going on? In 2 short years, she has already put herself in the conversation with not only the 4 horsewomen, but she's put herself in the conversation with Becky Lynch and Charlotte as one of the greatest women of all time. I think her accolades have already surpassed Sasha and Bayley. And that's not a knock on Sasha and Bayley. That's just where Bianca is as far as her accomplishments are concerned. And she's spectacular. She is great. She is now in the conversation in a very, very short amount of time, and she's just getting started, which is absolutely incredible.
I do disagree with that. I think Sasha Banks is definitely in the conversation because no one has her. None of the 3 women you just named has her catalog of classic great matches and delivering great matches with not always the opponents. Like Bianca Belair has accomplished these matches with Asuka, Becky Lynch, and Sasha Banks. Like it ain't nothing to blush about. It ain't nothing to be like, well, while Sasha Banks, I've seen her have a very good matchup with Nia Jax. Like Sasha Banks is otherworldly, and her resume is even getting larger outside of WWE.
Sure.
Because none of these women can say they're an IWGP Women's Champion, and none of them can say that they are on the 3rd season of Mandalorian, which regardless of the ratings or the viewership going down, it's still the top rated show on Disney Plus, one of the leading apps in all of the world. Like Sasha Banks is definitely, I agree with what Chris Haley just said in the chat. Sasha has put on much better matches than Bianca. I would say Becky Lynch. I'd say Charlotte Flair, out of the women you just named, is the only woman that can keep up with the amount of great matches that Sasha Banks has had.
Not a knock on any of them when you're talking about those 5, though. Like seriously, they're at this point. I mean, we all know the 4 horsewomen. They're all first ballot Hall of Famers whenever their time comes around. Bianca's not that far off. Stephen Chambers asking, despite no Wyatt and Uncle Howdy, when will we see Alexa Bliss back? No clue. Not a clue. She was apparently backstage at WrestleMania. Was not used. Bray Wyatt was apparently in town. Was not used. LA Knight was not used. A lot of unanswered questions. Hopefully we get some answers come Friday on SmackDown. SP3, number 4 here on the 5 count. What was the best thing you saw all weekend? A lot of great things, a lot to be happy about. What was the best thing you saw all weekend?
The best thing, like it could be like a moment or a match, or I would say it's gotta be Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos, because it's a dual thing of it was one of the greatest, in my opinion, WrestleMania main events of all time. I think it's a top 2, top 3 greatest tag team match in WWE history. And I think it's a top 5, top 6 greatest tag team match in wrestling history. The storytelling, the story beats, the callbacks to different stuff, the facial expressions, the selling of Sami Zayn, who was selling like he was Terry Funk with the drunk stumble into the ropes. Like, it was otherworldly. And the fact of the matter is that I was a 19-year-old kid in 2007. and I watch the Briscoes and Kevin Steen and El Generico tear it up at Manhattan Mayhem 2007 with a couple of hundred other New Yorkers in the Hammerstein Ballroom, down to come back more than 15 years later and to see those two men who became stars in that feud with the Briscoe brothers. Then 2-3 months after Jay Briscoe, someone who meant so much to me as a wrestling fan, 2 months after that, those two men win the main event of WrestleMania, win the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions for the first time against arguably one of the greatest tag teams in WWE history. Like, as a fan of independent wrestling and seeing these guys start from the bottom that they here, that is the only moment that matches that moment for me as a wrestling fan, was seeing Bryan Danielson win the WWE Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania 30. That was one of the best feel-good endings to a WrestleMania I ever seen. Outside of the WWE bubble, the best thing I saw was Vikingo versus Commander. That was one of the best Lucha Libre matches.
Frantic World agrees.
Quite some time at ROH Supercard of Honor. ROH Supercard of Honor from top to bottom was a fantastic show. Probably the only show I would kind of put on the level of WrestleMania 39 Night 1, as well as Joey Janela's Spring Break, and seeing Kota Ibushi back in a professional wrestling ring with his great match with Speedball Mike Bailey at Bloodsport, as well as giving Joey Janela the greatest match of his career, in my opinion, at Joey Janela's Spring Break 7 that had Vikingo versus Speedball, had Maki Death Kill versus Bussy. So the East-West Express, 17-year-old Nick Wayne, 23-year-old Jordan Oliver, another guy that I saw from the very beginnings of his career on the independent scene here on the East Coast. You see him win the GCW World Tag Team titles. There was a lot of best things across the spear, because I watched pretty much the whole collective, and I've watched ROH Supercard of Honor, watched Stand and Deliver, watched both nights of WrestleMania. I'm tired from professional wrestling at this point, and we got Dynamite tonight. But the best thing, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn winning in the main event after one of the greatest tag team matches of all time.
Look, man, I could sit here and rattle off a ton of stuff that I enjoyed. KO and Sammy would be near the top of the list. I thought, if you haven't seen it, go out of your way to watch Grayson Waller versus Johnny Gargano from Stand and Deliver. They got a star in Grayson Waller, man. He is going to be such a big deal when he finally gets up to the main roster. I hope we see him on Friday, to be completely honest. Didn't get any NXT call-ups on Monday. I think he would be a spectacular addition to Friday Night SmackDown. They need dudes like him. Victor, no, I don't see Braun Breaker being called up. He just turned on Carmelo Hayes last night, so he's now a heel. Looks like he's going to stay in NXT for a little bit longer.
And he's on the poster for NXT Battleground on May 28th, so I think he's going to do Carmelo versus Braun too.
Yeah, so they'll get that going. I will have a conversation, by the way, with Carmelo Hayes coming out on the channel here in the coming weeks. That was a really good conversation that thankfully my audio worked for. Snoop Dogg stepping in, main event of night 2 when Shane went down. Didn't even need to be told to get into the ring and help out when Shane tore his quad, and just laid out the Miz with 2 of the best realistic looking punches you're going to get. And then Jessica Carr, by the way, radioing into him, hit the people's elbow. Someone needs to teach Snoop how to grab the damn ropes, though. And all the time that he has spent in a wrestling ring, how no one has shown that man how to run the ropes. Dude went straight corn on the cob and tried to back into the ropes to deliver one of the worst people's elbows I've ever seen. Although he did get some good air on that. But Snoop stepping in and being an entertainer, absolutely fantastic. The Divas of Compton, man, and their entrance with Bianca Belair was special. Made all the more special when Triple H told us in the press conference that the little girl who got to dance with Bianca, the contortionist in that whole entrance, her mom had just passed away that morning. I mean, when he told me that story, man, in the press conference, I was hoping the camera would not turn on in our direction, because I had tears strolling down my cheeks, man. That was that was rough. So that was spectacular. But for me, I got to go with the thing that I absolutely enjoyed the most over the weekend. And it was the match that I was looking forward to the most, and it delivered. The only thing that made me mad about this match was when it ended, and it was Gunther and Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, just 3 dudes beefed up, smacking the ever-loving shit out of each other. I'm actually 2 seats over from Nick Hausman as we're watching this match. This is one that he was not looking forward to so much. And he's looking over there every time that there's a chop and a slap and, Sheamus's chest is blood red. And he's like, Rick, you're enjoying this? And I went audibly, fuck yeah, I'm enjoying this. It is everything that I wanted. I will watch that match.
You wanted it to go 45 minutes.
I wanted it to go much longer than the 16 that it got. I was honestly surprised that I wanted Drew to kick out of that powerbomb so much. I could have watched that all night. Literally all night. It was absolutely 100% spectacular. Last but not least, we'll throw in a little bit of AEW here because we got a big show tonight. Happy MJF Appreciation Day for those who are going to be celebrating. But SP3, Tony Khan has one of his big announcements tonight, and he told Sports Illustrated it's one of the biggest announcements in the company's history. This is something that he's been wanting to do for a very, very long time. It's going to make a lot of fans happy, SP3. What on God's green earth is TK going to announce tonight?
I think he's finally going to announce that they're going to the UK. I think that is, if you go by what he's saying, it's one of the things that he's wanted to do for a while. It's going to make a lot of fans in the UK happy. I think the big announcement is they're going to do an AEW Dynamite or maybe even a pay-per-view in the UK this year.
That's definitely one of them. I am going to go, just to be different, a streaming service, some kind of streaming service announcement. That's just it's the only other thing that I could possibly think that. It's the only other thing I could possibly think that they're going to enter into some kind of media agreement to put their catalog out.
The only other thing is the Saturday show or a big signing, maybe Switchblade Jay White. That's why they weren't talking about him in WWE.
Yeah, definitely possible. We'll see. Hopefully, TK has pitched some big announcements before that have fallen flat. Hopefully whatever it is tonight is a good one. Whatever it is, we'll talk about it next week. Back in our normal time slot, 2:15 on Tuesday here on Bleav in Pro Wrestling. SP3, what you got coming up on True Heel Heat this weekend?
This week we're coming off the WrestleMania high. I believe we had multiple. We were live pretty much every day of WrestleMania week. Last Monday, my interview with Chris Bay dropped. We did the live watch along for Raw. Tuesday, we did our preview for WrestleMania 39 with Sadi Nyangi. We did NX3, the live watch along of NXT, the live watch along of Dynamite, and a preview of Stand and Deliver last Wednesday. We did Thursday was AE Ramble, the review of AEW Dynamite, and we did a live watch along of Bloodsport, Impact, ROH, all the GCW events. DDT Goes Hollywood, which was an awesome show. Yoshihiko, one of the MVPs of WrestleMania week. Yes, that's a blow-up doll, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, now you know. Stole the show at the DDT Goes Hollywood show. We did the live watch-along for Friday Night Warriors, as well as Servant Face and Heel with Stephanie Hypes and Chrissy Love dropped on Friday. Saturday, we did True Heel Heat 219, live watch-along of Stand and Deliver, live watch along of WrestleMania 39. Sunday, we did a preview of WrestleMania 39 night 1, live watch along of night 2, and then on Monday we did our biggest, most star-studded roundtable review of WrestleMania 39 night 2. So special thanks to the NWA podcast, Professor Chris and Nate Milton. Special thanks to Chase Oliver, who was in the chat and joined us. He was live there in Los Angeles, barely had a voice, but did it for the content. Romeo and Josh from the True Heel Heat YouTube channel and Jeremy Lambert all joined us for our roundtable review. So you could check out all of that stuff from last week. Yesterday, on Monday, we did a live watch along of Monday Night Raw. Tuesday, we did NX3, NXT live watch along. And tonight, we'll do a live watch along of AEW Dynamite. And I'll be back on the channel tomorrow for AE Ramble to review Dynamite. And then Saturday, True Heel Heat 220. We got special guest Alex McCarthy of Daily Mail.
Yep, always good to see Alex. He was there in Los Angeles, along with several other media members. By the way, Chase in the chat, appreciate the beer money, sir. It definitely went to good use. Always appreciate your support. Boy, that trip to Los Angeles was something, though, man. I'll have to explain it later because we are way over on time, and I know SP3's got stuff to do, and so do I. Appreciate everybody who joined us in the chat. We'll try to get to more comments next week. There was just so much to get into today. We'll see what happens on SmackDown as far as Vince being in possibly control of the ship. fingers crossed, hope for the best. That's all we do here because we believe in pro wrestling here on the Bleav in Pro Wrestling podcast, brought to you by Bet Online. Take care, everybody.